Hey, football fans, we're back. We're between the posts, of course, with Jason and Matt. We've been gone for the last couple of weeks, just couldn't quite get our schedules to align, but sorry to be back. But here we are right now, talking Premier League, match week number 36. How's it going there, Matt?
The schedule is somehow aligning this week, even with me in the car right now, Jason. Yeah, we've got to get it done. I mean, there's only a few weeks left, and there's some exciting stuff still to play for.
Yeah, obviously the relegation fight. Obviously Leeds has been dragged right back into it. Now Burnley's actually out of the drop, so exciting stuff. And then the Premier League title races, obviously still going on. Maybe City got an extra leg, by not having to play a final. But fact is, those finals don't even take course till after the season. So maybe their participation or lack of participation doesn't really matter. So either way, should be an interesting last couple of weeks here on the Premier League. Let's just go ahead and jump to it. Let's not do a recap. It's been too long since we've been away from you guys, so we'll just jump right into the action with the first game being Brentford versus Southampton. Really, the only thing I kind of liked about this game was really just both teams to score at a minus 145 price. I didn't ultimately end up betting it, but I could see both of the teams scoring. Brentford's going to be at home where they've been better, and then Southampton, they've kind of picked it up as of late. But getting into these matchups, we've kind of talked about it. Nothing to really play for. Mid-table teams, not sure why you would really bet it, but if you had to, I do think both of them will find the back of the net. What about for you?
I completely agree with you, Jason. I think that's actually a great potential, parlay piece to start off with a nice minus 145. I watched the majority of the Brentford United match, and I thought that Brentford should have scored. I was considering in the second half placing a wager on Brentford to score. I held off and was happy about that, but I do think that they deserve to score. And it's Southampton. It's two teams. They're locked in for next year. Like they're going to go out and have a good time with it. They don't have to there's nothing really to play for with either of these sides. And with that in mind, you have to love goals then. And yeah, Brentford at home generally pick up the pace. I thought that their offense looked really good against United, and Southampton's generally good for a goal. So yeah, I think both teams to score, could even push it maybe to a BTTS and over 2.5.
Yep, I think you could certainly add that to get some better value. Brentford burned me on both teams to score in that United game. I'm with you. I watched it. I thought it was a little disjointed there, and maybe some better, just maybe some controls or touches, and maybe they could have gotten it. But they were definitely attacking and threatening United's goals. That's for sure. Right there, I've also got a 9-month-old next to me, so not ignoring you, Matt, or not ignoring our audience. Trying to keep a 9-month-old quiet down by my feet. So that's how we'll do right here. Let's turn the page now to Burnley versus Villa. Boy, I want to get on Burnley. Everybody knows I'm a Burnley supporter anyways. You can get their draw no bet at plus 118. So this just feels like a free roll with what Burnley's been doing lately. Obviously, they haven't lost a game now in 5 times out. They've gotten 3 straight wins, just looking really good. New manager is just pushing the right buttons, and I just don't see them getting beat. They are just stacking up wins. Villa hasn't looked all that great. I know they are coming off a win, but that was against Norwich. Generally speaking, they've been their form has just been really down. So I'll back Burnley all day long in a draw no bet at plus money.
I like that. I mean, I could only be with Burnley here. They're so solid. But I'm going to pass it just because, I think that Villa still is, a lot more talented. But, I mean, this is huge. I think that Burnley would absolutely take anything, any kind of points here. I think the draw is very live probably in this one. Yeah, if they can nick a goal and then kind of get into a defensive like bunker shape where it makes it very difficult for Villa to come in and really connect some passes in the final third, then I mean that's Burnley's MO. It's been that way for many seasons. So yeah, I love the Clarets. I think I would be on the draw camp, probably right on the fence. So yeah, it's just a pass for me for right now.
Yeah, that draw price. Let me just have a half a second here. Is plus 235. Love that right there. All right, let's move it along now to Chelsea versus Wolves. All I see in this game is no goals. That's just all really good to see with, obviously how stout both of these two teams are defensively. You could maybe go under 2.5 at the end. I think I trusted Chelsea's ability to keep a clean sheet a little bit more than under 2.5 because they will be threatening at home with Stamford Bridge, getting more of the possession. They'll be sitting around 65% probably, and they'll have the chances, and that just kind of makes me a little bit nervous. But due to, I think, ball possession domination there by Chelsea, lack of opportunities by Wolves, I see Chelsea being able to keep a clean sheet here at the Bridge. So it's that one for me at minus 120.
Yeah, this one for me is completely a lineup check, but for right now on a Thursday, I would go back to a bet that I've gone in this head to head before is finding a way to be on Wolves in some way, shape, or form on a handicap. I just need to see, I need to dive in a little bit more on, Wolves they don't have a ton of motivation, really. I mean, there is some Europa potential or some Conference League potential for them. So that is definitely one thing. So I think that they'll bring out their best 11, and with Chelsea, they're comfortably in third. They just need to try to get some good games going really into the FA Cup, and just get some fluid offensive motion really here going into the FA Cup final. So but I think that Wolves are always just a tough team to beat, and I think that they're a tough team to beat by a margin. So when I'm looking, and just because I'm in the car, I really don't have the odds in front of me, but I would be looking at getting on plus one and a quarter, plus 1.5, maybe in a parlay piece. Those make a lot of sense to me. I don't see Wolves being beat by more than one goal here.
Yeah, your Wolves plus 1.5 comes in at minus 130. 1.25 comes in at even money. So I think you're right. With a low scoring match, they're not going to get blown out. I like that right there. And the last two head to heads have both finished 0-0. That's what I'm saying.
Yes,
This one's going to be low scoring.
They've covered both of the ones that I've gone with them on. So yeah, I have no reason really to get off of that train.
And today could be an interesting story with what West Ham does, right? They're 3 points above them. They're currently occupying that Europa Conference spot. If they bow out today to Frankfurt, okay, maybe now West Ham gives the league actually more of a run. But if they're still in that Europa League final, that could give Wolves some belief, kind of what you're saying, that maybe they could now snatch up in that seventh place team. So big game today later on versus West Ham in terms of how it impacts these Premier League standings. The next one on the docket there is Crystal Palace versus Watford. I could not find anything about this game that I liked, not whatsoever. Of course, I'll gravitate towards Palace at home. Not only are they at home, but obviously certainly the better team. Watford won't even be in the Premier League next year, but couldn't find a betting angle that I liked based on what the lines were being offered, so complete stay away.
These are my two just most hated clubs, I feel like, in terms of betting. In terms of betting, these are the two that I feel like over the last couple seasons just have consistently gotten wrong. So I want nothing to do with this. I agree with you on the gravitation at Selhurst, Palace. They've got more solidity and they've got a couple better attacking players. They probably scrape it here, but yeah, because I just feel like whenever I try to fade Watford, they somehow play really well. And then when I somehow would even want to back them, I mean, I did back them against Liverpool, which was amazing. I don't know how they covered that. But yeah, this is just a slight edge towards the home side in this one. They probably get the job done against a poor Watford. So yeah, I would be looking with you on home side or nothing.
Okay. The next one takes us to Brighton versus Manchester United, where this one has been all one-sided in the last head-to-heads. United has won the last 7 head-to-heads, obviously coming off a nice win there at Old Trafford this past weekend. I don't think there's going to be any goals in this game, though. I like under 2.5, and that coming in at minus 110. Brighton just hasn't been clinical and good enough in front of the goal. And then United hasn't also been clinical enough. I mean, it's really just through Ronaldo. I mean, just look what you see this past weekend. It's the Ronaldo show, and the other players, Elanga, generally is going to struggle. Rashford's in absolutely terrible form. So this feels like another 2.5. So that's what I did at minus 110.
Yeah, I think that that's a good angle because, like you mentioned, Brighton, they do struggle in front of net. I think that United's defense maybe have just gotten a little bit better with the Maguire absence, just kind of to freshen things up. I think that Maguire is a decent player. I think he gets way too much stick in general by the media, but I think just it was a good thing just to go with Varane and Lindelof just to kind of shake things up. I mean, I could only be looking at United here, though. I would trust Ronaldo's clinicality in a sense over any of the Brighton front line. And yeah, I think it would be draw no bet here. You're getting a pretty good price on United. I'd be surprised if United lost this match, but Brighton have done some things. They beat Spurs, they beat Arsenal, and here they are, against United. So I really just don't have a ton of interest though in this one.
That draw no bet comes in at minus 125. I'll never forget this fixture. This was the one where they blew the full-time whistle, and then they called Bruno back to the spot to go ahead and hit a penalty kick, and United won 3-2 and like extra time. Never heard of such a thing like that. So no crazies like that. Let's not award a third goal in extra time. Let's keep this one under 2.5. Let's go ahead and turn it now. We got Liverpool versus Tottenham. Obviously, one of the two big boy games. We've talked about, obviously, how the title race is. I don't see Tottenham getting in the way of Liverpool. I think maybe they can give them a tough challenge, maybe in the opening 25 minutes, just with Liverpool coming off a Champions League game. But I think if Liverpool can just kind of weather the storm, which they fully should at home at Anfield, just kind of really just weather the storm. Then they'll grow into that match and they'll take over. And once they take over, they'll put a couple past Tottenham. So I like their team total over 1.5 goals. It's a little juicy. So maybe we'll do something with that later on in the parlay. But Liverpool should be able to get past a good Tottenham team.
I think they should too. I think the Tottenham, this is the toughest challenge in the Premier League for the rest of the season. Thankfully, it's at home. I think that the supporters will help push them forward. I mean, they're on the back of a big high, in that second half against Villarreal. There's so much change. There could be a completely different starting 11. There's one that's just not. There's not a ton of value. Like I'm kind of in the camp where I think Spurs might score on the counter because I think that Kane and Son are in great form, and I think that they can score a goal at any moment. There won't be a ton of chances for them, but there will be a couple, and those two players are generally clinical. So I think if you're looking to get like the most value on this match, I think it would be Liverpool to win and both teams to score at a plus 200 type of number. But for me, it's just continuing to go back onto things that I know have worked. I mean, they've worked for like the last 3 months, and I'm doing Liverpool in a parlay again, and with Manchester City, and that comes in around minus 150. It just keeps hitting for me, and I don't think that there's really value on it, but I can't stop something that's working.
You could also see this is also a really big game, or a trap game potentially for Tottenham, right? They play Arsenal next. That's obviously their game. One of those two teams will obviously snatch up that fourth place, and those 3 points mean everything. So how much of an eye are they going to keep on that Arsenal match? It's massive, and that's obviously next.
Yeah, it is massive. But the Arsenal fans are Liverpool fans this weekend, because if Liverpool wins this, I mean, it's almost like Arsenal could still lose to Spurs and get fourth, possibly. So there's a ton riding on the line right now, and for that fourth spot, Arsenal, all of their eggs have been in this fourth place basket all season. So yeah, I hope that Liverpool can do it, and I would like to see Arsenal probably get in ahead of Spurs.
Yep. Talking to those Arsenals, let's go ahead and pick up them right now, where they're going to go ahead and take on Leeds. I've cashed Arsenal 2 straight weeks of taking their team total over 1.5 goals, and I'm going right back there again. I think that's the parlay pieces. Liverpool over 1.5 and Arsenal over 1.5. Arsenal just in fantastic form. What they were able to do last week against West Ham, kind of predicted that was a sweet spot for them with West Ham's involvement in Europa League, and they took care of business. Did exactly what you needed to do and get that nice 2-1 victory. They obviously, the week before that, against Manchester United, easily cashing this. So just love Arsenal, love them getting goals at home. I do think Leeds will kind of put up a tough test. They've been better since their managerial change, but not what this Arsenal team is doing at home, on a much better form right now. So like backing them on that team total over 1.5 goals.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, that's been hitting for you the last couple of weeks. Continue to ride it out, and guess what? Leeds' defense is terrible. So this should be priced at minus 140. That is a fair price. Arsenal win this match. They probably win it by a margin. Haven't really dove in much more than that, but I do side with Arsenal here.
Okay, next one on the dock is Leicester versus Everton. What's going on with Everton? They're a tough team to figure out, right? They want to play City tough, they want to even play Liverpool tough. They want to play these teams tough, and then yet even Chelsea tough is the other one I left out there. Chelsea, Man City, playing all these teams tough, but yet you can't do much against the other sides. I don't know, frustrating team. You would think goals are going to happen. That's what happens here in a Leicester game. So if you're going to side with anything here, I would say just take goals. In the end, I didn't bet it, but I certainly lean goals because it's a Leicester match, and Everton's just got to keep fighting.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really, I like goals here. I've bet over 2.5. And it's really just based on, I think that Leicester will push tempo here. I think that Leicester will cause some problems, and Everton are going to have to play on the front foot then to keep pace, essentially. So I see this probably being like a 1-1 kind of game in like the 65th minute. And, I think that it can push up and over the 2.5. So that's where I've gone.
All right, the next one here is Norwich versus West Ham. I think this is a tricky game. Norwich is officially now going down in the championship. We knew it, but now is it official? West Ham, I would just be nervous because of their game a little bit later on. What if that one goes 120 minutes, right? What if that goes in extra time against Frankfurt? And now they also have to travel back from Germany into England. This game to me is a complete lineup checker. I wouldn't want to part any of this pre-match with West Ham's involvement in Europa League. So is there an angle you like pre-lineups in this one?
No, not at all. I want nothing to do with this one. And if you were on top of anyone really playing in the Europa League last week, Conference League, and you faded that team on the weekend, you made a lot of money. And that's generally what happens late in season here. All the eggs are in one basket. I've got no real opinion. I think that West Ham were decent last week to keep it to, only losing 2-1 to Arsenal. I thought that they put up a decent performance, but I mean, it's just, you just don't know what's going to happen here today. It really does depend on what happens today. I like West Ham today. I like West Ham draw no bet. I like their team total. I think that they're going to push Frankfurt here all the way. I truly believe that it's not going to be easy. But I like West Ham much more today than even considering betting them at the weekend.
Yeah, you're probably like me though, liking West Ham today, but probably liked them last Thursday when they lost 2-1 as well at home. I think this is a tricky game. I was not impressed with that performance. I think it'll be better just because they're a better team than I think what they showed, but I was on them last week.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And I faded, I had a fairly substantial wager on fading Frankfurt after the West Ham match against Leverkusen. And I watched the entire match, and they were absolutely horrible. But there's nothing that you can even take from that match to put into today. They were on the road. They rested, rotated their main key players, and they were basically just laying down against Leverkusen. Like they had nothing to play for. So those are the type of angles that are always fun. Today's a little different. Frankfurt is a hostile environment. West Ham are going to have to be on their P's and Q's, but I just don't see them getting beat here. But you never really know. I mean, I hope West Ham do it for the Premier League. I think that they're stronger, but you got to step up in these big moments.
All right, and the last game of the weekend here is Sunday afternoon, Manchester City versus Newcastle. Of course, the other team here in the title race that is just trying to get wins. That's all they want is 3 points. I don't care what the margin is, just give me wins. I see this game a little bit interesting. I see Newcastle obviously certainly not scoring, or if they score, it'll certainly be one, and that's the only one they get. I see City coming out in this first half off the pace. Obviously, they're going to be really deflated after bowing out yesterday to Real Madrid. I don't think they're going to be clinical. I like the first half under 1.5 goals at minus 140. I don't see Newcastle scoring. City's just going to come out. They're going to be pissed, and they're going to want to still take this game serious because they want to still be chance. But I just don't think they're going to be clinical and high energy, and their pace is not going to be up tempo. So I like under 1.5 goals. I think that'll easily come in. I think City maybe gets one, or maybe it's just 0-0 at halftime and you cruise to a nice easy under 1.5 goals. So I'm just focusing on the first half on this game, really.
Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know what to do with this game. Like, I think that Newcastle pose a bit of a threat here. Like, I think that Newcastle looked really solid against Liverpool. Like, Liverpool made one nice move in the 25th minute, Naby Keita. They scored. They locked up shop for the most part, but that's not to say that Newcastle didn't have some like decent moments and transitions and counterattacks and all of that stuff. So I am a little bit concerned for City here, but then it's also just like, okay, I'm going to continue to bet with what's working. Yeah, really wanted to hear some of your opinions on what happened yesterday, because that was an all-time flop from City, really. And I think a part of it was, I think a big part of the first goal was down to Cancelo. I think it was completely his fault. The second goal was a lot of luck involved for Real Madrid, but I just cannot believe that. And then they almost scored a third. Rodrigo almost bagged a hat trick in 3 minutes. So I don't know. I that was an all timer there, and I'm very curious to see what happens. Going forward on that
Yeah,
with City.
Yeah, 17 minutes ago, up 2 goals. Just couldn't. Still don't believe that it's not an all English final. I mean, can't believe City just gave that up. With how well they hold ball possession, just seemed like they weren't playing keep away the last few, and they were just defending and back on their heels and just having it come at them, and not good.
Have you seen the save by Courtois?
The one for Foden on the header. Yeah.
No, that one. No. The one on Grealish.
Oh yeah. The one on Grealish. Yes.
The one on Grealish it's one of the best saves you'll ever see, and the announcer's like, he's like a spider, and he barely gets the smallest little nick on it, and it's like Grealish probably didn't even see that nick. Grealish in his mind probably thought, wow, I pulled it a little bit and I messed that shot up slightly. No, Grealish actually hit it perfectly. It was going into the bottom corner, and somehow, some way, Courtois gets the slightest nick to send it away from the post, and that was really, that was the moment of the match, because then 2 minutes later, there's 2 goals. The match would have been done and dusted. It pretty much already was, but just an immense amount of luck, misfortune for City. Cancelo should have held his line on the first one, but God, I cannot believe that. I cannot believe that.
Thought Guardiola was going to win Champions League and then go off to Brazil and take that job and make the Premier League a little bit easier with him and not in it anymore. But I don't know. Yeah. It feels like he maybe stick around. I don't know. That was heartbreaking right there. Grealish, give him credit. I've been bagging him all season long. He was bright when he came on. Almost drew a penalty, but it was just out of the penalty box. I mean, he was really good when he came on.
He was great.
All right, let's go ahead and give these people our bet so you can continue getting on the road there. It looks like you're on a City Liverpool parlay.
Yes. Yep. And then Leicester and Everton over 2.5. But I think that we mentioned a bunch of nice little nuggets there, Jason, that I'll be looking towards again, and I'll send out on Twitter this weekend, because I think that there's some beautiful little angles there that we discussed.
All right, I've got several bets here, but make sure you follow me on Friday's show. Everybody knows I'm starting to tail back in terms of my volume. So these are the bets that I really like to bet. I will trim these down to which ones will be official plays on Friday's daily show there on YouTube. So like these plays, find out which ones will be official bets. But otherwise, I like that Liverpool team total over 1.5. Parlay with Arsenal team total over 1.5 at plus 108. City and Newcastle, first half, under 1.5 goals at minus 140. Brighton and Newcastle under 2.5 goals at minus 110. Chelsea on that clean sheet at minus 120. And draw no bet there for Burnley at plus 118. I'm going to tell you right now, that Burnley one's an official bet. It's just do I add how many of the other ones. But Burnley will be an official bet. But again, find out on tomorrow's daily show there on YouTube which ones make the actual card. Trying to cut back my volume, man. I feel like every weekend I've got like 30 bets on the weekend slate. Got to cut it back, man.
Yeah, it's that time of the season where it's late, and yeah, it's probably not a bad idea.
All right, feels good being back in here with you, talking Premier League weekend. Thank you so much, Matt, and thank you to the viewing audience. Good luck with your bets this weekend, and we'll see you back here next week.
Thanks, Jason. You too.